What's good? What's good? We are back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast. I'm gonna get into a react video. My good friend and mentor Christopher Roker, 1/3 owner of the Dizzle brand premium luxury liqueur, put me onto this guy Texas Paul, who was reacting to a video. And I'm not really gonna react to Texas Paul's react, but I'm gonna react to the video that Texas Paul is reacting to. So Carolina Paul is going to get into the react. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, Triple P, a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Don't forget to follow me on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, much more. Also, video version goes to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and Twitter. We stream it live on 3 of the Twitter accounts: Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Paul W Pickett, and Twitter at Urban Obsessions. All right, before we get started, let's give you a word from one of our sponsors, and none other than Dizzle brand premium luxury liqueur.
Me and my team, whenever we link up, they gonna be drink up. We sit down, relax and have few glasses when there's things to think about. Like I'm nice with the boss when I tend to the bars and I'm not talking drink ups. So tell the bartender that's tending the bar to please pass me a big cup up. And tell that waitress that's waiting on us to put a little ice in it. Now watch the ice become weightless like the spaceships that I be sitting in. No wait and listen, no waiting for that tropical twist. That'll take your taste buds. Now tell you something, I insist it's Dizzle.
Do you Dizzle? Yes, I Dizzle. And that was the creator of Dizzle at the end of that commercial. Mike Dizzle holding up the glass, saying cheers. Shouts out to Mike Dizzle, Livio Harris, and none other than my friend and mentor Christopher Roker, owners of Dizzle, black-owned liquor brand, premium luxury liqueur, mixture of agave, tequila, cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Go to dizzlebrand.com. You can order your very own bottle or bottles of Dizzle premium luxury liqueur online. Must be 21 and over. Shipping and handling is included. And below those links as well is stores that you can get Dizzle brand in California, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So dizzlebrand.com. Go to our locations. And you can also buy the merch on the Dizzle brand store at dizzlebrand.com. So let's get into it. I'm going to react to this. I'm not going to react to the reaction of Texas Paul, but Carolina Paul is going to react to the video that Texas Paul is reacting to, because I didn't really watch his react, and I really don't need to, because when I heard this, I was just like, wow, this is batshit crazy. But let's get into it.
Folks, this is Texas Paul. I'd like to introduce you to Pastor Jonathan Shelley of the Steadfast Baptist Church.
Wow.
Catch you on the other side.
We see the Nancy Pelosi's of this world.
Hold up, Pastor. So I see why my friend Roker was talking about these far right Christian extremists. You know, yes, I went to church, but you know, I'm not a religious person one bit. But let's get into it.
We see the Kamala Harrises of this world. We see the work that they're doing. And that's why I reject women in any position of authority or leadership. You know, it makes me mad every time I drive up and down the street. There's this stupid billboard or this stupid little poster I see for like Pamela Bogus or something running for judge. And I'm thinking, what a curse unto our nation. She's a conservative. She's a Republican. Well, get in the kitchen and start making conservative sandwiches.
Whoa. Okay, that wasn't even funny. And the fact that I don't know how many people were in that room, but the fact that you can tell only a few people laughed. And I really would like to know how many people's in this room listening to this so far. But let's keep it moving.
Where in the Bible did it say that, oh, here's the virtuous woman, she's the judge? No, her husband's in the gate. Her husband's the judge. Her husband's the ruler. Her husband's in dominion. And what kind of weak man is campaigning for his wife? You lost your right to the man card, my friend. I'm Mr. Bogus. You know, I'm Mr. Pamela Bogus. Sick freak. And you know what? Why can't you run? Why can't you lead? Are you going to let her hand you an apple from the tree too? I mean, the Bible is crystal clear on who's supposed to be ruling, who's supposed to be leading, you know, and women are supposed to be obedient. They're not supposed to be in charge or telling us what to do. I mean, when a woman is the...
Okay, let me stop for a second. See, this is my problem I have with the Bible. Like, I do agree with some of the morals in the Bible, like thou shalt not kill, steal, you should treat people as you want to be treated and things of that nature, you know. But the Bible is, it's man-made. It's written by man, you know. Like, it's one of those things you got to take the good, just take the good parts of it and leave the bad parts alone, you know, because the Bible is fairy tales, made up, imaginary, illusion stories. And yes, I do agree with, like I said, some of the morals, because my sister, she's a Christian, her husband's a Christian, but they would never agree with this rhetoric. They would never agree with this rhetoric. And if this is what the far right is, see, I never really knew what the far right is, because, like, this is the only video that I could find with this after searching it. Like, you know, my friend Chris Roker sent it to me, and I went and searched up to find this, and there's only one video I could find with this actual content. So I would argue that nobody's really buying into this horse shit, because what I'm seeing is this guy sounds like a guy who has had his heart broken too many times. He's really, really sexist. When I sit there and say that the WNBA, there is no gender pay gap between the WNBA and the NBA, I'm just speaking facts and truth based on profits, gains, and profit losses. Like, the WNBA and the NBA is not a gender pay gap issue. It's a profits and losses. It's an economic issue. It's an issue that the WNBA makes nowhere, doesn't even make a fraction of what the NBA makes as a profit. You know, and their athletes don't command the same star status. They don't have the same following. Like, you could take a bench player on social, a bench player in the NBA, and he's got way more followers than the biggest female athlete in the WNBA. Brittany Griner only has 90,000 followers. Now let's think about that. I got 20 to 30,000 on one of my accounts. You know, Brittany Griner only has 2 times what I have, and she's in the spotlight 100% more than I am. That should tell you a lot right there. You know, this guy is totally sexist, saying that women shouldn't be in positions of power whatsoever. What about women who own their own businesses, that are self-employed, that own beauty salons or nail salons or whatever, a massage therapist or whatever it may be, that business that a woman owns. Maybe it could be a flower store or some kind of thrift store or whatever it is they own. I mean, it could be a gun shop. If a woman owns a gun shop, I mean, what, she ain't supposed to be the boss of her own gun shop? Stop it, man. And sometimes, I mean, I've seen some women that make better managers than men. I've seen women that take their jobs more seriously than men. You know, this idea, just because Kamala and Nancy Pelosi, and I mean, just because they're doing a terrible job doesn't mean everybody else is. I believe a woman like Kristi Noem, if, to be honest with you, if Kristi Noem was to run for president for if she was nominated as the Republican president and ran, I would vote for her. I would vote for her. If I'm not mistaken, she looks like she might be part Native American. She's from South Dakota, where my grandfather is from. My grandfather was a hardworking man from South Dakota. Worked. He had to move out when he was 16 years old and work on a farm for 3 meals a day, a roof over his head, not a penny to his pocket. So my grandfather's story was always been the story that I've held closest to my heart, and I've looked up to most of my family. You know, because I just believe that, like, I work 7 days a week. So I don't believe nobody works harder than me, like, as a self employed business owner. I have no employees. I run a business by myself. I literally was processing orders the day after I had surgery. But yeah, this guy is just a sexist, saying that women shouldn't be in positions of like, I don't know if he said power. I think he meant like management and like giving orders and stuff like that, being bosses and whatnot. That's bogus, because there's plenty self-employed, women out there. A lot of women that are business owners. What? There's somebody else. So they're supposed to be put all the money into the business and let their boyfriend boss them around in the business, or their husband boss them around in the business. No, that's not how it works. Their husband better go get his own business, unless he invested in half of the money into her business. If not, then what are we talking about here? Let's finish up with this nutcase, though.
The top of the free world, we're doomed. And we are like one half heartbeat away. I mean, we are one small trip away. Literally. I mean, we're one bad cough. I mean, it's just like, that is scary. That should be terrifying to all of us. And there's states where women are the governors. There's, in this state, women.
There he goes. What I say, I would vote for Kristi Noem, who's governor of South Dakota. There he goes. Exactly. See, I see what's going on here. See, what this guy doesn't get is he's totally sexist. And yes, it seems like he's trying to paint this narrative that the feminist movement is going to take over America. I disagree. I would argue that the feminist movement has been the worst thing for women in America. I would argue it has. Because, first of all, let's talk about equality in the workplace for a feminist point of view. Well, feminists don't want equality in the workplace per se. They only want equality in some of the workplaces. So there's always still going to be a lot of male-dominated fields, because women only want equality in, like, the sit down on a desk office jobs. That's the only place they want equality in. They don't want equality in the garbage industry. They don't want to be garbage. They don't want to be in the back of garbage trucks. They don't want equality in the landscaping industry. Women don't want to be out there mowing lawns and weed whacking. That's always been considered a quote unquote man's job, which is bullshit, because if a woman, she lives by herself and has no roommates and no boyfriend, then she needs to cut her own fucking grass. You know what I'm saying? Or she needs to pay somebody to come cut her own grass, which is what I would argue that a lot of women would do. They will pay somebody to come cut the grass, opposed to getting out there and cutting the grass themselves. My mom probably got out there and cut the grass herself. Maybe my grandma, if she had to, but she had my grandfather. So there's a lot of jobs. Bricklaying. Women don't want equality in bricklaying. Women don't want equality in paving roads. They don't want equality in the sanitation business whatsoever. They don't want equality in having to deal with sewage business. They don't want equality in plumbing. There ain't a lot of female plumbers. You know, they don't want equality in mechanics because a lot of females ain't trying to be mechanics. They only want equality in the workplaces that have to deal with office jobs. They only want equality in the jobs that have to deal with the most expensive salaries. They don't want equality in the jobs that have to do with the shitty salaries. That's bullshit. That's bogus. So this guy's delusional because feminist movement is hurting women, I would say. You know, then you got all these women that want to be career women and think once they're 30 or 40, they could just find a man and settle down. Prime years of your life is they're gone. A man knows at age 30 or 40 that if you ain't settled down one time by age 30 or 40, you just been having sex with a bunch of guys, a bunch of different guys. And once again, women fail to realize that the more dicks that penetrate you, the lesser value you have in a man's eyes. See, because men, we value, like, we think it's cool for men to bone a shit ton of women, but we don't think it's cool for a woman to bone a shit ton of men. That's the majority of men. That's how majority of men think. And yes, it's a double standard, but like that one guy was saying on Fresh and Fit, life is full of double standards. Democrats do nothing but preach double standards. They're the political party of double standards. But this guy is batshit crazy. All I could take from this is he's a sexist. He totally thinks the feminist movement is gonna ruin America, which he thinks it's gonna put like he thinks women are just gonna take over America. I mean, there's more women in America, and they still haven't fully dictated everything. And there's still gonna be a lot of women, I think, that understand that you got to take a man's lead. You know, this is like he's bad shit crazy. He really is. You know, because he's taking the king and queen thing a little too far. Yes, a king doesn't bow to the queen. Yes, the queen doesn't tell the king what to do in the kingdom. But she can advise and she can whisper in his ear and make suggestions, and he can take those suggestions. I mean, yeah, this guy is just bad shit crazy. And if this is what the far right is, I don't think we got anything to worry about because these guys don't got a loud enough voice. I don't think enough people are going to buy into this shit. And any man trying to get with women isn't dumb enough to follow this kind of rhetoric. Like
Women are running for governor.
Okay.
You are an idiot if you vote for a woman.
Wow, I must be an idiot if I would vote for Christy Holmes.
Yeah, he said that. He said that. If you didn't catch it, I did a video about the Christo-Fascist Takeover of the Republican Party, how it's rebranding itself as the Party of God. You may want to go back and we'll catch that video. In it, I mentioned that Republicans have no idea the animal they're playing with. They have no idea. They're like little children in the woods playing with matches. They have no idea that they're about to burn the world down. They are literally attempting to take the world's most powerful nation, the strongest military on earth, the most technologically advanced military on earth. And
all right, let me stop it here. Like, as I said, I want to really just react to the other video. And this is the problem I have with Texas Paul's analogy. As I told my friend Roker, who sent me this video, they're under this presumption that they're trying to make America a solely Christian country for the first time. No, this is what they're failing to realize. They're trying to make it a solely Christian country again. All the founding first fathers and stuff like that, a lot of the early American rhetoric was from Christianity. Now, I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Islam. But this is the thing you got to realize here, Texas Paul. More than about half America is Christians. And I would argue that it's not just Republicans. There's still a lot of Christian Democrats. There's still a lot of Christian Democrats. And even though a lot of so-called Christians are just so-called Christians, you know, they're not like my sister who just honest, decent human beings. And that's what it's really all about. Just be an honest, decent human being. You know, 25% of, I would argue 25% of America, maybe less, are atheists like me. I don't believe in what man calls God. But this is the problem. If we had to say what's the lesser evil, this is why I got to draw the line with Texas. This is what Carolina Paul got to draw the line with Texas Paul. Yes, I don't believe in Christianity to the fullest, but I do agree with some of the values, like thou shalt not kill and stuff like that, some of the commandments. Republicans aren't sitting there saying all Democrats are racist, white supremacists. And Democrats are saying that about Republicans. So that's why I draw the line. I can never side with the political party that has accused me for being a racist white supremacist born with white privilege because my skin is white, that I have advantages over everybody in the world that's of color, which is complete horseshit, bullshit, and lies, because I worked in the food industry the majority of my life, and I built my business by myself from scratch with no help, nobody's money, nobody's effort, time, but mine. I built the shit by myself. You know what I'm saying? Nobody helped me. I got no handouts whatsoever. I built this shit. And guess what? Anybody in the world could have did what I did. Anybody else, I don't care if you was black, white, green, yellow, purple, orange, anybody else could have did what I did. Because what I became, the business I do today, I evolved into. I didn't plan on being a music promoter or a marketing and advertising guy. I didn't plan on that. I just started selling targeted Twitter followers because I had a software that was amazing. It was a software that was amazing. And I built my business. So back to this though. If I got to choose the lesser evil, I'll choose the side that's spewing Christianity over the side that's telling me that I'm a white racist supremacist that's born with white privilege and an advantage over everybody of color because my skin is white. But let's not take into account my father committed suicide, and I never know my father, and my mother pretty much sold me out to another man. I've been a loner my whole life. Let's not take the fact that the odds was against me from day one. Let's just throw those out. Because, you know, I'm not gonna side with the side that's pushing this transgender, non-binary, make-believe, imaginary bullshit. I'm not gonna side with the side that's trying to take away my guns, or excuse me, my gun, which sits in my closet, and I hope I never have to ever use, but I have there for in case somebody tries to break in my apartment while I'm here one day, just like somebody broke into the cafe the other day and just broke out the glass, you know, right down the street from me. I mean, somebody broke in a business from walking distance. You mean to tell me they're not going to break in my house? I'm not going to side with the political party that allows people to just run up into a store, still not $950 worth of stuff and doesn't even lock him up for it. Like that, if I gotta choose the lesser evil, to me, the Republicans are the lesser evil as far as Democrats and Republicans go. But I haven't voted Republican in my entire life. So, with all due respect, like, I don't agree with that video whatsoever that Texas Paul's reacting to. That guy is batshit crazy. But I would argue that Texas Paul is painting a false narrative that is the mainstream view of the Republicans. No, that might be the far right view, but this is the thing about the far right Republicans. They don't have as loud as a voice as the far left. I repeat, the far right, their voice isn't so mainstream and as loud as the far left. The far left is the loudest voices in every single room. The Joy Reids, the AOCs, the Joy Beharts, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, those are the loudest voices in the room. Those are the ones the cameras are on. Cameras ain't on. That's the thing people got to realize. Some of these people that people be complaining about, like that video that pastor, like he's the only guy, Texas Paul is the only guy reacting to that video. Like nobody really knows about that rhetoric. So let's pump the brakes and act like that's the mainstream view across the board. Not that deep. And yes, Republicans are godly people. But guess what? There's a lot of people in this world that are godly people. The majority of the world believes in God. The majority of the world believes in God. Let's pump the brakes. Everybody's not like me and believe like, and that's the thing. Whatever created us, I wouldn't call it God anyways. I don't necessarily believe we have to worship what created us. We don't know that whatever created us wanted us to worship it. I feel like history has been so diluted at some point. At some point in history, it got so diluted, we don't know what's what anymore. We don't know. But I tell you, one thing I do wish I'm right. I wish I'm wrong about is that there is a life after this life. I mean, I got a tattoo on my arm from back in the days, Eternal Life, which used to be my original rap name. I mean, I would like to hope that there was eternal life, but I don't believe there is. I believe once we're dead, that's it. That's why I'm trying to make the most of this time. I believe something did create us, some life form, some being created us that was definitely more advanced than us. Maybe not like advanced in the sense of magical powers and stuff, but advanced of technology and the brain, just knowledge and things of that nature. But if I got to choose a lesser evil, Carolina Paul would just go with the Republicans spewing Christianity and opposed to, like, that's the thing I try to tell my friend Roker. I can't never side with the party that's already called me a white supremacist racist. That's it. Case closed. It's over. There's nothing more to discuss. I can't support nothing after that. You've accused me for being something that I'm not, man. And I'm not gonna sit here and prove the same thing to prove myself not to be a racist. If you know me, you know me. If you don't, you don't. Then screw you. But it is, I just think, yeah, that was some batshit crazy stuff. Dude is totally sexist. Yes, women should be able to move up in management positions and CEO positions and run for governor. He's saying this guy basically saying women can't do a good job at any job that men can do. He's saying women can't do a good job at all. I totally disagree with that. There's a lot of women out there that could do great jobs and good jobs, But then again, we also got to realize politics politics is a lot of delusion and a lot of just hope. Like we're delusional on what people can and can't do. What like when I voted for Barack Obama, like I didn't vote for Barack Obama because I felt like Barack Obama was necessarily going to do something for me. I voted for Barack Obama because I felt like was the number one opportunity for a president to really do something for black people. But then I was delusional in the fact that, you know, what power does any one politician have, even the president, when he's still got to have people, the Senate and Congress and things like that, vote on these things. And then until they pass these laws and it hits, until they vote on it and it passes, it doesn't hit their desk to sign. So I'm delusional on that. Then Barack was also trying to please everybody, and I don't know that that's what politics is or what it's supposed to be. I mean, I just feel like strongly politics is just you please your base. It's just no different than a consumer business to me. Like, why would I, like, if I run for president and I get voted in, why would I focus all my attention on pleasing the people who didn't vote for me when I should really just focus on pleasing the people who did vote for me, doing what they asked of me? Like, I just think I always thought it was just kind of a bogus idea that once a politician gets voted in, that he's supposed to cater to the people who didn't vote for him. Why would you do that? Unless you're running for re-election. But as soon as you get in, I mean, you got 2 years to fiddle around with. Why would you even? They didn't vote for you, so your views don't align. The parties don't align. I just think we're really delusional about what politics is. It could be worse. It could be like Mexico and be a one-party system, and we probably started as a one-party system, if I'm not mistaken. I think we started as a constitutional republic, then we became a democracy as we started to get more states. And I'm curious to see if we'll ever have a state just decide to leave the United States. But I don't agree with Texas Paul. I agree with his react to this guy's batshit crazy, but as far as the Republicans destroying the country, I would argue that what the Democrats are doing are far worse. It's far divisive. I mean, they've literally called every single white person in America a white supremacist racist. Even the ones that are Democrats, which are really is dumb to me that any Democrat, any white man that voted Democrat, or any white person that voted Democrat is I don't know the word for it. It's pathetic. Like, I couldn't vote for somebody that called me a white supremacist. And even Biden saying if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I mean, that was the most racist thing I've ever heard come out of a presidential candidate's mouth before election. So, like, they called all white people racist white supremacists, and they said all black, you're not black if you don't vote for them. I mean, like, how is that not the most racist political party in America? How is that not the most racist political party in America? The one that's called all white people racist and said, you're not black if you don't vote for me. That's two of the most racist stances you could take for a political party. And neither one of those stances have been taken by Republicans. And it's not that I'm defending Republicans. It's just lesser evils. This is how it works. Independents don't stand no chance to get voted in. Libertarians don't stand no chance to get voted in. They don't got enough backing. Not yet. So it's either going to be Republican or Democrat. Like I said, Democrats are doing everything so wrong. And lesser evil, man. That's all this is right now. we're at a point now where we got to vote for the lesser evil. And I'm just sorry for right now. Right now, it's the Republicans. This narrative that the Republicans are the bigger evil is bogus. It's bogus. It really is. They're the lesser evil. So Carolina Paul and Texas Paul, we're aligned on the guys batshit crazy, but as far as Republicans being worse than Democrats and they're gonna fuck up the country, I would argue Democrats are doing things far worse. I would argue that Democrats have already divided the country to the point where we might not be able to bring it back together. I would argue the Democrats have divided the country so much to the point we will not be able to sew it back together, bring it back together. If we don't, that division it'll just carry and rip on to a civil war. And I don't want to see a civil war in my lifetime. I don't want to see a civil war in my lifetime. I really don't. I really, really don't. Because this civil war would be totally different. It'd be totally different. Yeah, this was an interesting one. I need to get more videos like this so I can react to these batshit crazy people. And Texas Paul isn't so batshit crazy. He seems like a decent guy, but I think he's delusional right now on what's the lesser evil. What's the lesser evil? Let me give you a word from one of our sponsors. And actually, we're just going to end with a Paul Pickett podcast commercial. This your boy, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast, a.k.a. Triple P, a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, sport events, and more. Please check me out 3 to 4 days a week on my video podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. And check out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Peace. See you there. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Yours truly, Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast. And I'm out.